We're gonna give Daddy the Rain Man suite. Do you dig that? We're going to Vegas, Mike.
Vegas! You think we get there by midnight?
Money, we're gonna be up 500 by midnight.
Yeah! Vegas!
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
Here's Johnny.
Say hello to my little friend!
We are back with another episode of the most quotable films of all time, as voted by you guys. And the winner of this week was Star Wars, the original from 1977, also known as A New Hope. Darth Vader right there. Yeah. Definitely one of the most
John is ruining Darth Vader's picture.
Yeah, classic. But yeah, this is definitely very quotable all the way through. I mean, could have easily done a list just on what, Obi-Wan Kenobi alone, but I personally tried to spread the wealth on my list among different characters. So I guess I'll start us off this time.
Okay.
So my number 5 is mentions Obi-Wan Kenobi in the quote, and it's a classic. I mean, of course, this starts off the whole plot of the movie, and it's Princess Leia saying,
"Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope."
It's a classic first line.
Yeah.
And then you can just quote the whole movie from there.
Pretty much, yeah. And this is repeated several times because, of course, that's the little film coming out of R2-D2, and they have to repeat it a few times when they find Obi-Wan and all that. But this didn't make your list?
Actually, no.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting. So probably
It
won't
made
make
my top 50 list.
50. Yeah, exactly. So what's your number 5?
C-3PO says,
"You must repair him. Sir, if any of my circuits or gears will help, I'll gladly donate. He'll be all right."
Yeah. Okay. But of course, referring to R2-D2.
yes.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, you could have done a whole list on C-3PO
Yeah, I mean,
too.
C-3PO is another one that has like a lot of the good lines and stuff.
He might have the most dialogue in this movie, because like the first 15 minutes of the movie is just the droids, wandering around, which I mean, that's unheard of for a movie.
I know.
Yeah.
Let's
crazy.
go this way. And go beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
And it goes the other way.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, there was nothing like this when it came out. I can only imagine. So my number 4 is probably not on your list, but it's something that makes me laugh every time. And it's towards the end of the movie when the X-Wing battle is going on. And I believe it's Gold 5 who says,
Stay on target. We're too close. Stay on target.
I just love the tone of his voice when he says that too. It's so great. And I wanted to have Porkins on the list, but he doesn't really have any good dialogue.
Who?
Porkins, one of the other X-Wing guys,
Yeah.
who had a very unfortunate name. But what's your number 4?
Obi-Wan Kenobi says,
"You can't win, Darth. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine."
Great one. Yeah, this that was an honorable mention on mine. Yeah, and one of the greatest lightsaber battles of all time, of course. So, but I guess technically the first. Very nice. All right. So was not on my list, but my number 3 is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and this is when they are they're being stopped by the stormtroopers, and he says,
"You don't need to see his identification."
"We don't need to see his identification.
"These aren't the droids you're looking for."
These aren't the droids we're looking for."
very good.
Not on your list?
Nope.
We may have nothing in common again.
I know.
That's great. What's your 3?
So my number 3 is C-3PO. Says,
Listen to them. They're dying, R2. Curse my metal body. I wasn't fast enough. It's all my fault. My poor master.
When they're in the trash compactor, right?
yeah,
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, that was a good comedic moment. And of course, there's also I believe it was probably Han Solo who says, "I have a bad feeling about this" in that scene, which was an honorable mention of mine because I mean that's said
yeah,
so many times.
that's another one that, a phrase that kept going around in the movie. Luke
Yeah.
even said it at one point too.
Right, yeah. And they continue it throughout the whole series. But all right, so cool. All right, my number two, I had to have a Darth Vader line, and this is when he's talking to one of his own guys, and I think it's the scene where he's choking him by the Force, and he says,
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Yeah, that's when they're all at the big meeting
Yeah.
talking about the Death Star.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good. So that didn't make your list?
No, that didn't make my list.
Man, all right. Okay, what do you have at two?
Okay, this is Wedge Antilles,
Yeah.
Luke's friend on Tatooine, also known as Red 2
Mm-hmm.
in the movie.
Look at the size of that thing.
Oh yeah, that's right. He. I forgot that Wedge is the one that says that.
Yeah,
I always, for some reason, I always attributed it to Luke because that's one of the quotes they use in that Star Wars video game that we would always play at
right.
Razzmatazz back in the day. You remember that?
Yeah,
Yeah, good stuff. Great quote. Yeah, I would have had that one probably. But mine, which was also my number one, was a quote that's used in that video game also. And it's for my Han Solo quote, I had to have him say,
Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
so what's your number one?
I chose a little bit before that when Han is leaving with all this loot. He says,
Hey, Luke. May the Force be with you.
Oh, so it's Han saying it. Yeah. Nice. Now, I have to say, I'm kind of shocked that you don't have a Darth Vader quote on your list.
yeah, I know. I was thinking about putting one in, and then I changed it, and I put a C3PO quote in it.
All right. Well, hey, you can't go wrong with any of these. I mean, they're all great. I also was going to have "May the Force be with you" when Obi-Wan said it. Or I think it's "The Force will be with you always" is what he says. And then, of course, "Use the Force, Luke." I went back and forth with all these Force quotes, but
I know. The Darth Vader one I took out was, I sent something, a present I've not felt since.
and then he just stops and walks away.
Yeah.
That's a good one too. Well, great. Yeah, this is good. I'm glad you picked that. May the Force be with you. So we do have a Force quote, and that was very cool that Han said it because, of course, he was skeptical about the whole thing to begin with. So
then it's another Han Solo. Wonderful girl. Either I'm going to kill her or I'm beginning to like her.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
Yeah.
I mean, Han, he's my favorite character in the whole Star Wars universe. So
And another C3PO quote that I like. We seem to be made to suffer. It's our lot in life.
yeah, that's a good one too. Very good honorable mentions. So all right, so to put this together, that's cool. So one and two are both going to be Han quotes. I think let's go with yours at number one, the Force. I like that. And then great shot, kid will be number two. I think three should be Darth, the find your lack of faith, since he's such a heavy hitter character. And then we can put Wedge at number four. That's good. And then so now it's between 3PO and Obi-Wan. That's a tough choice. You want to do a 5 and 6 on this one?
Sure, why not?
All right. We've been doing that a lot lately.
Yeah, I know. I think the last 3 times.
So we'll 3PO, that's a great scene. We'll put that at 5, and Obi-Wan starting us off at number 6. All right. Great list. So here are the official top 6 quotes of Star Wars according to 3 and 4 right now.
You don't need to see his identification.
We don't need to see his identification.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
Listen to them. They're dying, R2. Curse my metal body. I wasn't fast enough. It's all my fault. My poor master.
Look at the size of that thing.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
Hey, Luke. May the force be with you.
Yeah. Great list. And if this does air on Christmas, if we have time, we did film it on Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes, and Happy New Year.
Yes, indeed. And now we get to pick the top 4 movies, starting with the letter T. This should be interesting. I know for sure none of mine will probably be on yours. Maybe one. So
there
what's
are so many, just like there were with the S's.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that's like really, really hard.
Indeed. So what's your number 4?
There's Something About Mary.
Oh, that definitely would be in my top 10, but it did not make my top 4. That's a good choice and surprising from you.
What does that mean?
You usually don't go with the straight up comedies. All
Yeah,
right.
that was a good one.
Yeah. So my number 4 is also a comedy, and it's Tommy Boy, the Chris Farley and David Spade movie, which I knew you wouldn't have that one.
Yeah.
So what's your number 3?
True Lies.
An Arnold movie. Yeah, this had some good ones. That's true. And Jamie Lee Curtis, and who's the guy? Bill Paxton. He had some good lines too. Oh, and his assistant, I forget who plays him.
Yeah, I can't remember.
He had a lot of good lines. Okay, so my number 3 is not a comedy. Well, some can see some scenes as comedic, but There Will Be Blood is my number 3.
Okay.
All right, so what's your number 2?
The Terminator.
You're going full Arnold on this list.
What? Something About Mary didn't have Arnold in it.
That could have.
But
So,
Arnold has all these good lines.
so you're going with the original Terminator, not the second one, right?
Yeah, it could either be 1 or 2.
Okay. Yeah, either way. I guess original is fine. All right, so my number 2, you're definitely not gonna like this. Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby. The Will Ferrell car racing movie. If you're not first, you're last. All right, so what's your number 1?
My number 1 is one of your mom's favorite movies.
Okay.
To Have and Have Not.
Okay, definitely not on my list. I have not seen this. So I know it's an older movie, but who's in this one?
Lauren Bacall, Humphrey Bogart.
Bogart, okay. Then I'll allow it to be on the list then. Bogart's always got good lines. All right, so my number 1 is Taxi Driver. Just for the you looking at me speech alone, I had to have that on my list.
Taxi Driver was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th down.
Okay. fair enough. Well, so this is going to be easy. Just our two tops will be the list. So we got Taxi Driver, To Have and Have Not, The Terminator, and Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby. These are your choices to vote for. So you know what to do, either in the comments below or on Johnny Radio. You can go there on the poll and vote. But whatever the winner is will be our next episode. So looking forward to it. And yeah, we're getting towards the end of the alphabet. So we'll see where we go from here. Maybe we'll start over and do some of the ones we didn't get to before. Because this series seems to be our bread and butter these days on 3 and 4s. But again, happy holidays, everybody. And this was a blast. So see you next time. Love you.
Love you too.
All right. Bye.